Hey everybody, this is my video review of Fantastic Four number 48, the Stan Lee Jack Kirby classic, and the first appearance of the Silver Surfer, Galactus, and maybe even the Watcher, but I'm not sure about that. Now this copy's pretty beat up, but it's paid for, and there's a story behind this. So I bought this copy when I was in 8th grade, so that was probably, in the late 70s. And I bought it at this thrift store for maybe 50 cents, so it was real cheap. And you gotta keep in mind, there weren't any real comic book stores back then, especially where I lived, so finding a cool back issue was really rare. And I got excited when I found this, like, Fantastic Four number 40, are you kidding me? At the thrift store? So I snapped it up just like that for my comic collecting buddy saw it. I really should have just snapped it up. There wasn't going to be any comic drama because my friend was a DC guy, and DC in the 1970s. But, the whole walk home, I'm proud, and I'm thinking, I have Fantastic Four number 48, I have Fantastic Four number 48. And the thing is, at home, I had a reprint in what was called, I think it was World's Greatest Comics, and this reprinted old Fantastic Four, so I had this story already. And, God, I forgot, this starts with an Inhumans wrap-up, like there's this 2 or 3 issue Inhumans story, and Inhumans suck. Even Jack Kirby could barely make the Inhumans interesting, and see, I don't even think the Inhumans cared what happened to them. Anyway, I get home, I flip through the comic book, and come on, let's get through this Inhuman schlock. And then we meet the Silver Surfer. Okay, this looks pretty cool. And then we see the Skrulls. And back in the 1960s, the Skrulls are badass. That Captain Marvel movie made them look real squirrely. All right, so you keep going. And this looks cool. And this is more like it. Things are getting really interesting. Chaos, Silver Surfer. I know what's going to happen in the comic books, so I'm pretty, things are getting interesting. And then, what? Oh, no. You had page 11, and then page 15. Page 11, and then page 15. You've got to be kidding. It's like a collector's nightmare. It's like, when I saw it, it's like, God, mother, piece, son of a... I think I said everything. I probably got yelled at for cursing. I was in 8th grade. Wasn't allowed to curse back then. But even back then, I knew I couldn't take the comic back. I mean, Watcher. Make things worse, I turned right to the Watcher. Watcher sucks. My comic book friend hated the Watcher. He'd say, I hate the Watcher. All he does is watch. Today he'd be one of those guys. The Watcher. I think from my friend's point of view, the Watcher would be one of those guys holding a cell phone recording somebody getting hurt when he could easily step in and help. That's the Watcher for you. All right. Anyway, the guy who ran the thrift store was a Chiefs guy. He never took anything back. We used to, when I was, walking through the thrift store, searching for books and comic books, we used to eavesdrop on arguments that customers had with the owner when they tried to bring stuff back. I'm sure half the time he was ripping them off, and half the time was the customers probably trying to rip him off. And you know how that situation is. It's funny when it's not happening to you. All right, this looks kind of cool. It's kind of a waste of space, but it still looks cool. And Galactus. Galactus looks kind of dorky now, but this is groovy stuff back in 1966. And even in 1979 when I bought this, it's probably 1979, I thought it was cool. Hypnocoin. I like some of these ads. Hypnocoin. Look at that Hypnocoin at the bottom right. Seriously, what would you do with that woman after you hypnotized her with a Hypnocoin? It's typical 1960s subversion, perversion. Somebody call Roman Polanski. That probably was around the same time. Okay, that Marvel ad on the right is kind of cool. I could see Dr. Doom wearing a Hulk t-shirt. Pandemics never spread in Dr. Doom's country because everybody's always on permanent lockdown. I gotta be careful with that stuff because some people will take that to mean that Dr. Doom's a good guy. And, it's true. And they'd say, oh, that's right. That pandemic wouldn't spread in his country. Let's be more like Dr. Doom. Was it Latveria? Okay, which one's the real one? Latveria or Latvia? All right, letters pages. I used to read these. I wonder how many letters Stan Lee wrote, or if some intern wrote these. I'm not suggesting that all the letters were written by Marvel people, but there were a lot of Marvel comics, a lot of letters pages back then. A lot of those letters were very well written and very coherent. So they probably took these butchered letters and then just rewrote them to make them look good. Record riot. Uh-oh, somebody say riot. Hey, just go downtown if you want to see a riot. And this is weird. On the songs list, you can see the name of the names. You can see the names, the titles of the songs, but not the artists. Well, okay, I kind of got a little sidetracked there with the ads and the letters pages, but that's it for my review of Fantastic Four number 48. It's a cool comic book. It's not the best copy in the world, but I'll still keep it, and I've never tried to cheat anybody by trying to resell it. Oh yeah, and I still haven't permanently learned my lesson from this comic book. A few weeks ago, I was at the used bookstore and I bought this old copy of Dr. Zhivago for really cheap, and I was thinking, yeah, all right, man. I wanted to read it once, maybe about 6 months ago. I checked it out from the library, but I didn't have time to read the whole thing, so I was glad to get my own copy, a cheap copy that I could take my own time with. And I got home to start reading it, and okay, if you know what happened. Here we go. Open up the book, and then, what? You got mother, son of a piece. All right, so that's it. If you like this video, please hit like or subscribe so I know to make more. And you can check out my blog, Dysfunctional Literacy, where I put some of my own writing up. All right, I hope you liked the video, and leave a comment, and thanks for watching.